thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I'm very glad to see that many people joining us to talk about sustainability reporting. That's going to be a great session. So we're here for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. And so we'll go through sustainability reporting and have a look at an award-winning report. Just a bit of housekeeping. So there is a Q&A button at the top of your screen. If you have a question, just pop it in there. We might not have the time to go through them, but if we do, then we'll look at them at the end of the session. Okay, let's get started. So I'm just going to introduce myself first. So my name is Julian. I am the founder of G-Transition. James, if you want to move to the next slide. Just a meeting at the same time. So yes, my name is Julian. I'm the founder of G-Transition. So G-Transition is a marketing agency, and we focus on sustainability marketing. So we help businesses with communicating their sustainability initiatives, and we help climate tech technology with their marketing needs as well. So I'm going to be your MC today, and I'm really it's a pleasure for me to introduce to you James and Adam. So James is the founder of Magnetize. So Magnetize is also a marketing agency focusing on sustainability marketing, and Adam is the founder of Phosphlake, which is a manufacturing company that manufacture pillows and duvets. And James and Adam have been working together for quite some time now on Phosphlake's sustainability journey. And so very excited today because thank you both of you for taking us through that beautiful report that was created for Phosphlakes. We are going to deep dive into the process and what's in the report, and what led it to win that sustainability that award a couple of years ago. So I'm going to hand over to James to introduce Magnetize, and I will let Adam as well introduce his business after that. Over to you, James.
Thank you very much, Julian, and yeah, pleasure to be here this morning, and really hope that we can share something that you find useful in helping to take your next step in sustainability reporting. So my personal background, I have worked within marketing and communications for the last 20 or 25 years, and throughout that period, I've actually been a scuba diver. And when I first started out scuba diving, it looked like this scene on the left, but sadly over the years it was more and more this scene on the right. And as a marketing director and an agency leader working with international brands, I was thinking, crikey, but what about my own personal impact? I actually want to help contribute to rectifying this situation through the work that I'm doing. So in 2018, I decided to go back to school. I went to Copenhagen Business School and took a full-time MBA with a focus on sustainability. And since then, sustainability has been at the heart of everything that I do. And the vision that we're working towards is for the most sustainable products to be the top selling products. That would be a very nice, solid contribution for the business community to make to the sustainability agenda. So what is the mission of Magnetize? How do we help towards that vision? Well, by working with the companies that are becoming more sustainable, to turn that sustainability into a competitive advantage. We do that through sustainability marketing and communications, working on the strategy side, so helping develop messaging and positioning, communications plans, and across company corporate communications, such as what is going on in your sustainability program, but also at the product level, so helping you launch products that are more sustainable and getting them out successfully into the market. creating all these kind of web pages and slide presentations, all the sales and marketing materials that you would expect to see. But we also help our customers with some of the core sustainability issues, and Phosphorus is a good example of that, where we have helped them develop their overall strategy by walking them through the process of conducting a materiality assessment, developing their program, helping set goals, KPIs, and making their sustainability reports, and participating in the monthly action meetings, where we and helping to remove obstacles, provide a little bit of knowledge and expertise here and there, so that they can move forward with their program. We work with companies of all sizes, from smaller all the way up to larger, and you'll recognize at least some of the names here, perhaps, and mostly in Denmark, but also other countries in Europe, and even as far afield as Australia. So with that, that's Magnetize. Adam, could you introduce Phosphorus and your sustainability journey?
I would be honored. I'm Adam Foss, and in 2005, I established Phosphorus based on an invention my father did. Before that, it was the filling material that was unique. It was developed from artificial snow used in decorations and theaters and movies. We still do that. And there was a spin-off into the filling material into pillows and duvets. We are currently working with Jysk, and we are very proud to be a strategic brand partner, meaning that our brand Phosphorus is in all Jysk stores. They have 3,500 stores around Europe. And we also have another brand that is called Nordic Sleep that we export, and is our locomotive, our vehicle that pulls everything, that sells primarily in Asia and Denmark. And everything is made in Denmark, in Skive, in western Denmark. We have 35 employees, approximately 20 in the factory and 15 in admin and sales and marketing, etc. We started our sustainability journey actually a little before 2021, but it wasn't, because the filling is made of polyethylene. It's a mix of polyethylene and polyester, which in layman's terms would be plastics. And plastics is very bad. So we wanted to know, how bad are we actually? And we luckily hooked up with James, and he was co-working with another consultant then, and we hooked up and we started our process to formalize the analysis. How bad are we? And we did some work, and I guess we'll get into that. But our sustainability report 2021 was extremely well written, and therefore we got a small token of appreciation from the Global Compact in Denmark, and we were very proud of that as being one of the companies with the 10 best reports.
But it sounds like it was a little bit more than just a small token. It was a big token.
Yes.
And that's not the only one you received, I think, right? There was
we got some acknowledgement here and there, but I have to credit that to James. But of course, the content came from us, and the conclusion is we were not bad, but we can get back to that. And we learned a lot, and we have a much better self-esteem, and found a lot of good solutions. But I guess we'll get back to that. Yeah, that's the one up left, the SMV Cup.
Yes, that was awarded by the UN Global Compact Network, Denmark, and Danske Revisor FSR. That's the association of auditors here in Denmark, and but it was also very well received amongst the broader business community, with a lot of different organizations asking Adam and the team to whether they could be used as a case in their materials.
That's really fantastic. Well, thank you for this introduction, both of you, and thanks for being here and sharing with us all of this. That's really interesting. Okay, so having said that, I think let's get started into the presentation. So, all right, so let's get started, James. How about we talk about, first of all, the why? So why would we want to do a sustainability report, and what are the benefits of doing one?
Yes, great. Okay, so well, in most countries, small and medium-sized businesses are actually not required by law to report sustainability information unless they're a public traded company on a stock exchange. But if you're selling to big companies, they are required to gather and report this information. And they will be increasingly likely to ask you for that information because they have to report not only on their own operations, but on their value chain. The number of companies encompassed by that regulation is expanding, and there's new regulations coming in, especially through the EU at quite a rate at the moment. And the number of topics that companies will have to report on will also be expanding. Financial institutions are part of this as well. They are increasingly required to collect and consider ESG data in their decision making and reporting, and so having this information in place also will help you secure access to investment and loans. Another factor is employees, and you may already be experiencing the feeling, or perhaps explicitly, that your employees want you to be taking action and taking responsibility on your environmental and social impact. Just in the media recently, at least where I'm sitting, I've seen various articles about climate quitting, so employees leaving their jobs because they're unhappy with the attention that company is making on the climate agenda. So annual reporting can help you demonstrate to stakeholders that you're taking responsibility and thereby enhance your reputation, building trust with your stakeholders and differentiating you from competitors.
Yeah, yes, that's definitely becoming more and more important and prominent out there to write the report. I would like to ask Adam, actually, what was the driver? Why did you decide to go ahead and prioritize reporting over any other activity in the sustainability space?
Yeah, as I said, we were met. The plastic question came up a lot, and even though our pillows don't end up in the oceans when they're used, there was like we didn't want to be in bad standing, so we wanted to learn, and we also wanted to find out and tell our employees we are here or here or here where we are in that system. So we needed that journey, and we also knew that I also knew that if that's the way it's going, and we might as well get started and be a little ahead, so we don't have to do last minute changes. Jysk, for instance, is our biggest customer, and they have a program, and in 3, 4, 2 years from now, they may say you have to be absolutely whatever, transparent in one thing or the other, and we might as well be ready for that.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. It's definitely a good thing to anticipate that, because it's coming for everybody, even if it's not mandatory at this stage.
Yes,
it will come at some point, for sure.
But we have very dedicated employees. Even the people in the production are very dedicated, and they wanted to know. So actually, that was the main driving force.
Yeah,
I wanted
very
to know.
interesting. Yeah. Yes, of course. Great. So, James, I think the next question from here is really to think about, okay, we might be doing some sustainability activities, but when are we ready to report? It's great to want to do it, but when is it a good time? When do we have enough to report?
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, it was James you were asking. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, by all means, go ahead and tell, give your perspective on that, Adam.
Well, it's like having babies. It's never the right time. So you just get started, and it'll work out.
Yeah,
fine,
I like
fine.
that.
Okay. And I think one of the key things that that we see. I mean, of course, there are no hard and fast rules. So each company needs to make that decision individually. But one of the the key foundations that surely must be in place is that the senior leadership and the board has provided some genuine commitment to working on the sustainability performance and improving it. Because you're committing to annual reporting, therefore there needs to be some substance to share. There needs to be some progress, some stories to tell. So, but you can also use the the report to identify areas for improvement, to help you make a plan and create a baseline for measuring process. So it can just be an instrument that you use to kickstart your whole journey and perhaps put it on a more formal footing. But you also need to be ready to present a comprehensive view of your sustainability performance and challenges. And so this is not a marketing document where you just show the shiny things that are all wonderful, but don't look over here in the corner where things are a bit murky. No, you give equal balance to to the challenges and successes. But that's fine. Everyone is in the same boat. That's why we have a sustainability agenda, because we've got issues that we need to work on, and so it's normal to be transparent and open about this, and that's actually how you build trust with your stakeholders.
Yeah, so we want to report on the good and the bad for sure. This is how you become more transparent. I think that's the key word here. And so I just wanted to add something here, because you might have a couple of actions ongoing. You might have done a little bit of work, but not have enough substance to make a report. So there are other options available, right? So you could have a sustainability section on your website, or you could talk about it in other materials or collaterals, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Small updates, blogs. If you're just working on ad hoc activities and it's not enough to to fill a report, then that would be a very appropriate. Yeah.
Yes. So and for you, Adam, did you feel like you had enough already by the time of your first report? Was that the clear? Are you feeling that there was enough to put in the report?
Well, the first report was a process, a long process where but when we started, I didn't know what to expect. But as we worked and we gathered data and everything, and we had our first report, that was the big leap. But yeah, we didn't know what to expect.
I think typically companies will see that when they get into this, they've actually probably done more than they realized they had. They've actually got more in place than perhaps they give themselves credit for. And we come to some of those topics a little bit later, and perhaps you'll be able to make a note yourself of, oh yeah, we've done that. Oh yeah, we've done that. And actually, we're in better standing than we realized.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think let's dive into the report. Let's look into the process and how you've structured your report. And again, I'd like to thank you, Adam, to join us for this and allow us to dissect that report and have your comment on the side as well. That's very helpful and very useful for us. So yeah, let's do that. James, over to you if you want to start talking about that report.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at some of the key pages of the Phosphlake's sustainability report. Of course, this is just one case, but it helps to illustrate some of the key items of content that you would see in a report that would be quite typical. The first item that you see is the letter from the CEO. So this sets the scene for the whole report. And so Adam explains here, we are committed to sustainability. We will provide an annual update. He explains why it's important to the business, introduces some of the priority issues that the company will be working on over the coming years, and then a couple of the key highlights. Here's what we've achieved in 2021. And then the rest of the report is all of the details that that help to tell that story. But one of the but there's a little bit more introduction, and that is a bit of scene setting, because showing the business model from a value chain perspective. This is one of the very typical items that you would see in a report, because we just want to provide an anatomy of the business, so the reader can understand the business in a couple of minutes. So on the left-hand side, we see here all the raw materials, the cotton, the polyester, coming in from around the world, being transported to the production center in Denmark, and then finished goods coming out the other side on the right, which are being then distributed to retailers and consumers and so on throughout the world. And then on the accompanying page to this, there's a little paragraph on the products, the suppliers, the transport operations, just fleshing out a short description of the business. Another item that you will see very frequently is a materiality assessment, and the materiality assessment is used to explain why are we working on these particular issues and not those particular issues. So this is a process that helps you rank all of the particular issues that you could be working on by the importance to phosphates and the importance to stakeholders, and then the issues that are the priority are the ones in the top right hand corner, and these are the ones where you will be dedicating most of your attention. And again, there will be a page accompanying this, just outlining here's the process that we went through in order to come to these conclusions, all in the aid of transparency. And once you've then introduced those are the key issues, then you can introduce and here's how we're going to be working with those issues. So we have here an overview of the Phosphates program, which is divided into 4 tracks: product sustainability, creating better performing products and packaging; low impact operations, minimizing the environmental impact of the operations in Denmark; responsible conduct, which is about ensuring transparency and proper business conduct throughout the value chain, in particular the supply chain; and then attractive workplace, caring for our people and making it a good place to work in Denmark. Not all companies who are working on sustainability have their program divided up into different tracks like this, but if that's the case, then it's fine to find another way to structure your report, and that could simply be environment, social, and then perhaps a shorter section on governance. So you go through all the main topics that way.
Yeah, and even if you don't have a materiality assessment, or if your materiality assessment is ongoing, you could still report. It doesn't have to be structured that way. It proves some maturity, obviously, in the approach, but you don't have to have it. It could be you report on the first year while your materiality assessment is being created, and then you report on it the second year. It could be also done that way.
That's right. I did a report last year for a company that had been working on the agenda for the sustainability agenda for many years, but had actually never been through a formal materiality assessment. So then what follows after this page is a section on each of the 4 tracks of the program, and those pages are all structured in the same way. So we can just take a look at one of those sections, the product sustainability section, to see how that's done and how you can and give some inspiration to the type of information that you can provide, and how you can structure it too. So the opening page of that section just looks like this: setting the scene, creating better performing products and packaging, and contributing to the UN Sustainable Goals, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. So you immediately know, the UN goals, they are quite well known. So this is a shorthand way of knowing, where is the company focusing in this area. And then we have a little bit more of of scene setting. So why do we want to prioritize product sustainability? Well, because actually Phospholake's products account for the biggest sustainability impact of their business. The cotton, the polyester, and other materials that they're buying. This is really the main deal. Then we talk about the focus areas. So we're going to make the products more sustainable by exploring different solutions from new materials to new business models. And then in the final section on this page, we're setting out the goals. These are long-term goals. Remember, this is a plan that was put in place in 2021. So the company now has 3.5 years to work on these long-term goals. And the top one there is strong offering of new products based on more sustainable raw materials without losing the product's key attributes.
I really like that structure, because you've got your why you're doing it, what you're doing on that topic, on that aspect, and what your long-term goals are. And so what I've seen in different reports, you don't always see the goals, the long-term goals. So you see, okay, here are the activities that we've done. This is what we've done this year or the past couple of years, but we don't know where we're going. And the reason why companies don't expose that, it's because, well, the fear of missing the targets or not being able to reach it out. So I really think it's a good thing that you expose yourself a little bit and say, okay, here are our goals. This is where we want to be in 2024, even though you don't know yet if you're going to achieve it. So I think it's a good structure. And I think, Adam, how do you feel about that? Was that a conscious choice to say, I'm going to put my long-term goals there and take the risk?
I mean, in today's world, you have to be transparent anyway, and I had no problems with that. And also, you learn as you go, you get wiser, and even in business, you do a long-term strategic goal, and something may change that. For instance, we found out that the biggest carbon footprint did not come from the filling; it came from the cover, the textile, the cotton. It's like 25% approximately comes from the filling, 50% approximately comes from the cotton, and it's a lot. So maybe it wasn't the filling, the plastics, maybe it was the cotton we should replace to reduce the carbon footprint. That could be one example.
Yeah, so you're basically learning through the process, and your goals evolve as well. They might change. Actually, you might have put something in the report that is not valid anymore the year after.
But it's also a lot easier, and this is our culture in our company, is we are transparent. So it's easier for the employees to navigate. There's nothing to hide. I mean, in this sense, and so it was great. And we also found out that it seems as if the plastics that we are used is actually the least environmentally or the most sustainable part, even though it's made from virgin oil. So maybe the crude oil, maybe we shall not change from that, but do something else instead. So it's good to be transparent, and everybody knows what to look for and so on. Yeah.
Yes.
Anything I forgot here, James?
No. That's perfect. Thank you, Adam. And you mentioned the cotton shells and the filling material. So the next page of the product section, it really goes into those specifics. So you're talking about the cotton shells having the largest carbon footprint of all the materials, but you have this certification that it is safe for human health. Even for babies, there's no chemicals.
Yeah. And we also buy. This has made us buy into something called Better Cotton Initiative, where you a little bit like when you fly, you can buy CO2. What do you call it? When you fly, you can compensations. And so we only use BCI cotton now, where when it's made, it's compensated somewhere. So that's a little step in the right direction.
Yes, yes, exactly. So at that time you were using conventional cotton. This is what we describe in the report. We were using conventional cotton, but we're looking at organic. We're looking at unbleached. We're going to test that with our customers. And then you're also introducing in this section the risks in the supply chain around worker and human rights. And then we do the same.
I have to say it is unbleached, but there's a whitening and not bleach, but another thing that makes it white. We could reduce that. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's right. And then we talk about the filling material, the shipping packaging, the sales packaging. Microplastics is a topic that in particular your consumers have raised, and although it's not a concern for Phosphorus because for various different reasons which are explained in here, but we include it because it's relevant information for part of your audience. Product durability, that's a key topic as well.
May I product just an example where we can actually buy regenerated fibers that we blend with our flakes. The regenerated fibers are now at the same price as the virgin fibers, but we did a durability test of the recycled fibers, and it was less than half. It was 40% of the virgin fibers, and then you gain nothing because then you have to change your pillow 2.5 times or more often than otherwise. So we have to wait until the quality of the regenerated fibers is the same as the virgin fibers. Then we will switch.
Yes, and including that kind of information, that kind of discussion on the trade-offs also helps your stakeholders to understand why you can't just go from one year to the next to having making everything 10 times greener, because there are other considerations that we need to make, and adding that discussion into the report is key to bringing your stakeholders inside. You've also been looking at the life cycle assessment and having some numbers, some hard numbers to make decisions on. What is the impact of this material versus that material, and so you're making that. You include a commitment here. Hey, we're going to work on that in 2022, and we have we finished this section with the 2022 initiatives. Here's all the stuff that we're going to work on over the coming year. Julian, did you want to jump in?
Yes, sorry, I was just thinking. It's just yes, that's a good point you making, Adam. Is that there's a process, right? So it's not we can easily switch from A to B. We're going to test, we're going to try until we find the right thing. And so talking about that process in the report is very useful for stakeholders to see that there is something happening. And I think the other thing that I wanted to highlight here is that you've taken your product, you split it in separate parts, and even though you have some parts you can't do anything about, or there is no action, at least for now, they're still mentioned there, so that it's not omitted. Like you actually are transparent, because you mentioned the microplastics, so it's a risk or people are concerned about it, but then you address it without and saying, well, this doesn't apply to us for XY reason. So I think you look at everything. It's not just what you've done, it's also looking at the product as a whole, holistically.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the end of the product section, and that structure is then repeated in the coming pages for the following 3 tracks of the program. And then at the end of the report, there's a simple thank you and contact details page. If you want to provide some feedback, engage in this agenda, and also follow the progress of the company, then we have the social media channels and the newsletter and all of those things that you can sign up to. So yes, those are the.
That's great. That's I really like the how simple that structure is, and it's a very good report. Well done, guys. Well done, all of you. That's a great work for sure. So let's talk about benefits then, Adam. So when you released your first report, of course, we've seen, the industry recognition, but how about your stakeholders? How about, your partners, your customers? How about your employees? How was that received?
I think we were too modest in the beginning, so we had to, and we were overwhelmed with the price we got. So, but then we had to show all the employees the work we done and make them understand the results or the platform we are now starting from. And the board of directors and everybody was very happy about it. We also have our, and this is quite, we also have the report on our website, and we are selling direct to consumer. So we thought that must be very important. But I have to say, it's only a couple of thousand, 2,500 out of 700,000 unique visits that actually clicked onto the sustainability pages. So, in the consumer, I think the consumers, they take for granted that we know what we're doing. And but if we are going to find a new distributor, even in the most South Africa, they are very, very interested in our sustainability report. And I guess anywhere, and in India, we are just opened up in India. They are very interested. This is a paradox because they are really bad at. But it's helpful for us towards new business and towards ourselves. The consumers are not that interested. Is that yeah?
Yes, and you've also, I think that this was also instrumental in bringing on a new CEO for the business as well.
Oh yeah. I'm getting old, and when you get old, you lose the edge, and you have a company. The nature of business is growing, and it has to be a sustainable business. So you have to grow, and you have to grow sustainably. But so we looked for a new CEO, and the one we got on board was very good. But his key take was that, how about just the sustainability? We showed him the report, and he said, "I'm on." And he will take over from here, and that has really had a great value in that. And I expect that. And you ask, we don't always reach our goals, whether it's being a sustainability or business wise. But I'm sure that with this new CEO, we will reach a lot of goals.
Great. Julian.
Julian is frozen.
Okay, that's fine. In which case, I will take over. I'm nice and warm here. So the Phosphates report is an example, and of course there are many other good examples out there. But let's just have a look at what else the report can contain and some of the other general topics. So we touched on this a little bit. We saw certification from Phosphates, but certifications, accreditations, audits, memberships, commitments, policies, these should definitely be included in your report, whatever you have. We know that there should be a status on key topics, plans, challenges, activities during the year. Include little case studies, successes, more in an anecdotal fashion. Perhaps you have experimented with creating a more sustainable product and taken that to the market. How has the reaction been? That could be an example of a case study. In your first report, you might not have that many numbers, and that's okay. Actually, Phosphates didn't have many numbers in its first report, but that's going to evolve over time. Of course, internal numbers are easy enough to source, but getting numbers from external partners and suppliers, that can take a little bit of getting used to. And then the more of those you have, clearly then you'll be able to make comparisons with previous years and show, okay, are things going up or down, and explain why that might be the case. You can also talk about stakeholder engagement, and that really means how you engage your stakeholders, employees, customers, and suppliers in this agenda through conversations, understanding their priorities, perhaps working on solutions jointly with them, and then feeding back, communicating back the results. So those are key general points that you can include, and not that all of this will be included in your first report. Absolutely not. The reports can be start off simple and get more sophisticated as the years go by. But I think we should
Apologies,
also just
guys.
do a. Oh, you're
Yes,
back. That's good.
I'm just back. Something, yeah, I don't know. I've got kicked out of the meeting, but I'm back. Sorry, I missed a couple of minutes. Yes, no, thanks for that. Yeah, I just wanted to say that yes, you don't have to have exactly what's in the Phosphlex report, obviously. So that's. I think we wanted to go then through E, S, and G as well, just to give an idea of what can go into the report from a content standpoint. So environmental, social, and governance, and then a combination of these that could go into the report.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with the environment. So here we have a list of typical topics within environment, and for many companies, climate change is the number one topic. And when you look at across all business, this is the topic that most of them are reporting on. So energy and greenhouse gas emissions are likely to be relevant to report on in most cases. Greenhouse gas emissions that's actually a calculation, and Phosplex was not ready with its calculation at the time of the first report, but in its second report it included that. But energy, that's something that you get the consumption data from your invoices, and so that's quite easy to find. And then of course there's many other topics, water, resources, waste, pollution. How are you working with these things? How much waste do you have? Is it 1%, 10%, 0.1%? How are you trying to reduce your waste, and so on? Within transport and logistics, you can also think of business travel. Perhaps you're a consulting company and you're not actually buying that much materials, but you're traveling a heck of a lot. Biodiversity is a relatively small. It's up and coming in the reporting and sustainability space. That's being driven by increasing regulation and the commitments that the bigger companies are making. So that may not be a topic that you report on. It depends what's material to your business, of course, but you're perhaps less likely to see that at the moment. And climate change adaptation, maybe your company is actually affected by climate change. Maybe you have a factory that is near the sea, and with rising water, there's a risk of flood, and then maybe you're going to move your factory. So we include those kind of things in the report as well. On the social side, this really breaks down into two sides: your employees and then people outside your organization. So employee well-being, health and safety numbers. Perhaps you have a problem with absence and you want to report how you're working with that. Gender metrics, you can include your gender metrics at the employee level, at the management level, and at the board level. Maybe you don't have an issue, but you can still include those metrics because they are that is information that that people are interested in, and if you don't have an issue there, then explain why it's not an issue, even though it might not be 50-50. So investing in employees through training and development, and then as we look into the supply chain, the people working in the fields or in the mines, for example, there may be issues around labor rights and human rights. So put those on the table. And maybe you don't have concrete actions. You're not sure how you're going to tackle this, but you communicate that, hey, over the next year we're going to look into what is the best way to deal with that. Julian,
Yes.
Do you want to ask Adam a question?
Yes, but do you want to go through governance first, and then we can come back to the question?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. So then finally on governance, for perhaps for most companies, the SMEs, this could be the smallest part of the report, because often formal structures are less likely to be in place. But this is about how you're ensuring accountability, fairness, ethical behavior within your business. So many companies, they will have code of conduct for their employees and suppliers, covering conflict of interest and bribery and corruption and these kind of topics. Perhaps there's a mechanism for employees to raise concerns, and maybe even people outside your organization as well, through a whistleblowing mechanism. And then you can also talk about at the board level, at the top oversight, what is the composition of your board? Maybe you have an employee representative on your board. What is the gender diversity? Do any of those people on the board have specific knowledge and expertise within sustainability? Julian.
Yeah. Sorry, no. I think just one thing I wanted to add as well is, of course, you don't have to run on everything in those 3 slides, but it's good to sort of have some from the finding what's important for your company in the ES and potentially in the GE if there is anything, but at least ENS, so that's a little bit balanced as well, and it shows that you care about the entirety of ESG and not just one specific point. I think just one thing for Adam, and that's more related into data collection. So, because all of these, especially in environmental and social, is how you need to get access to your suppliers' data. How was that for you? And would you recommend anything to our audience today if they have to do it for the first time?
I think that first of all, you have to get into your own data. And we had a management group of 5. 2 of us were really, I was driving it, and I had one of the management group was project managing. But the 3 others were going along, because everything we do in this group is extra work from the daily work. We're a small company, so it's just extra work. So it took some time before we had gathered our own data. Not that it was difficult, it was just something we had to do, and it was a bit time consuming. But once we have that, it's easy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's easier to ask the suppliers. Then we know ourselves what we're looking for and what they should be looking for. But there's a lot of, we're a small company, and we get, unfortunately, we can only get some of the raw materials from China, and they hardly know what they're doing. So that's a little more complicated, and we don't even know if the cotton is grown with the Uyghur, what are they called, the slave laborers in China, the Muslims, and we don't even know if it is. They say no, but we don't, and so there are some barriers we cannot pass, especially from being such a small company. But then we write down where we are. Right now we have analyzed that even if you only consider a few percentage of a duck, the CO2 footprint and everything from a duck, we've calculated that the whole sustainability is worse from down than it is from our polyethylene. But we need, until we have the raw material, but we need to find out what is used during production and what is used during cleaning and drying of the down and so on. It takes a long time to get that data, and we have to ask frequently, because for the suppliers, it's also extra work they don't make any money from. But I guess persistence and patience is the key words here. That was a long answer. I'm sorry for that.
No, that's great. And I think what you say, really start with your own data, and then go get the data from your suppliers, which makes sense, really. That's also the easiest you can get.
Then we can better guide them what they're looking for.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Adam.
Very good. Okay. Let's have a a quick word on reporting standards, because we have the so European SMEs, they are not directly impacted by the regulation. However, they, as we've talked about, the big companies are. And one of the the new standards that is coming in is the European Sustainability Reporting Standard, and where the big companies, they will be impacted by that from 1st of January 2024. And so speaking to your customers to understand what are their expectations on you in terms of the information that you're providing is going to be absolutely key to to position yourself as a good partner. But there are also other standards. We have frameworks like GRI, and that you might have heard of that. It's a standard, a reporting framework that is used by big companies. But the smaller companies that have implemented it find it to be a little bit cumbersome, a little bit too comprehensive and detailed. Therefore, working with a looser, less heavy framework such as the UN Global Compact, could be a way to go, and that is the way that the Phosphlex goes. And of course, adhering to these standards increases confidence in the data and the comparability with other organizations. Another key standard is the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. For sure, that's the method of calculation that you would use for calculating your corporate emissions. And there are various different tools online available to do that. Or of course, you can seek some help from an external consultant, which is the way Phosphlex did it, and then subsequently updating the numbers themselves. There will be maybe some industry standards as well. Within the fashion industry, for example, there's the Higg index, which shows the sustainability of different textiles. So make sure have a look at what your competitors are doing, your customers are doing. Have a look at their reports. And speak to them and understand the context that you're working in, and state any methodologies, any frameworks, any third-party assurance that you might have got. That might be in many cases going a little step too far at this point, but also be open about where the numbers are estimated, and that's very, very typical within sustainability. That the numbers don't often have a high degree of reliability. It's fine to state that. We're still in the early days of maturity.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so I think we've talked a lot about what goes into the reports. Let's briefly touch on how we present information, what format. So of course, Phosphlex report in a certain format. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to do it the same way. So let's just have a quick look at the different styles and options that are available to us.
Yes, of course, because this isn't a marketing document, but it's still a branded document. It's a document that comes under your company name, so it should be your identity should come through in it. And so over the next slides, we have a few little excerpts, from various different countries, various different companies' sustainability reports. Here we have, this is how a company is introducing their sustainability program, and you can see they're using their own colors and their own graphical style, to make that stand out. You can, on this materiality assessment page, this company is using a photo that tells a story about their industry. Here's how the fabric that we're working with can often be dyed. Another way to use photos is, to show your team and show that it's personal. It's not a faceless organization that you're dealing with. That's one of the advantages of being an SME. You can get pictures like this, but use your own photos rather than stock photos where possible. That just all helps to improve the authenticity. You can use graphics as well. Here we've got a graphic that just communicates key facts at a glance. Here's some of all the great stuff that we've been working on over the last few years. But if you and as you gather more data, it's fine to include simple tables, because these allow easy comparison from one year to the next. And those tables can often get bigger as the years go on, as you collect more information. And then, and here's a fashion brand, Ganni, and you can see this is their website where they say we're not a sustainable brand. They say fashion is in itself not a sustainable industry, but then they go on to explain how they're committing to reducing the carbon footprint of their business. In the bottom left-hand corner, you've got the sustainability report there, and with an image that clearly communicates their brand.
Yeah, I think the key message here is to say that you can be on brand. You don't have to have something in a different format. You don't have to be sober or dry or just report the facts. You can be on brand. You can have your own messaging and your own way of saying things. So, and that's a very good example, the Ganni report, I think. So yeah, it's not greenwashing to say it in a light way. If you are a B2C brand and you talk to consumers, you can do it in light way as well, using way of saying things. So it's just staying on brand. That's important.
Yes,
and that's why the marketing person is often involved into that process, because they own the brand, they own the branding, so they know the tone of voice and the messaging that goes with it.
That's right. And although it should be presented in an accessible way, it needs to be presented in a way that really makes sure that you avoid greenwashing. So no imprecise language. You can't say we're sustainable, we're ethical, and so on. Every statement, every claim that you make about your business or your product needs to be needs to be substantiated with evidence. So it's better to use claims such as we've reduced our product CO2 by 10%, and then you provide perhaps a summary or a link to the report that shows that. Don't hide important information. The overall impression needs to reflect the real situation, and avoid cliche images, like the planet in the palm of the hand, or even cliche texts such as DNA, responsibility is in our DNA, or sustainability is in our DNA. This should be a report that only your company could have written.
And I think it's oh, sorry, I just wanted to add real quick on that is really so marketing people don't necessarily are well versed in sustainability. So this is where the error can happen. You've done a really rigorous process to get the data, then you start writing it, and then you make a mistake, and you don't really realize it because the person writing the report is not necessarily versed in sustainability. So it's important that you get either external help to make sure that what you say, your claims are substantiated, or have someone to review that report as well internally, or get your marketing resource as well to get into the regulations and understand that a bit more if you plan to write the report, but also talk about it in different supports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so just a couple of one more minute to go. You've gathered all this information. Make sure that you repurpose it into different materials. So Fosblake's web page here, a slide deck using for employees and customers and so on. They even start to introduce the program in small films and social media posts and ads. And the report creation process is going to is typically about 3 to 4 months. There's going to be a planning stage, collecting information, drafting and approval. It depends very much on how ready you are and how much data you already have, but this would be a safe estimate. It can go faster than this. And then finally, who should be involved? Well, you're going to need a project sponsor. That might be your CEO, a project manager. Maybe you have a marketing or sustainability responsible, could be somebody else. The management team coordinating the collection of information, someone to write and design the report, and then maybe it even gets signed off at the highest level by someone in your board.
Yeah, definitely
So,
a bit of involvement there.
Yes, yes, and so
right.
I think we're pretty much out of time. I hope
Yes.
you've found something of use there. There's some good stuff to help you take your next step or your first step in sustainability reporting. We'd be very happy to if you contacted us now, if you might need help with your report. We're getting into the busy season, so do let us know if we should be on each other's radar.
Yes.
And if you have any questions for us, then please give us a call or email.
Yes, and thank you, Adam, for joining us today. And that was really good to have your highlights as well. James, great presentation. And thank you, everyone, for staying with us. We are right on time, maybe 1 minute over. So thank you, everyone, for staying with us this morning. And have a great day. And we'll chat soon.
Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you to everyone. Please be in touch if there's something we can help you with, either on the reporting or helping you formalize your plan, or even the marketing side as well. So have a good day and goodbye for now.